everyone, this is Tricia and welcome to my channel. Tonight I decided to make some fideo con pollo. That is a vermicelli with some chicken. And normally I like to choose a chicken with skin and bone and usually thighs, so that is what I have. But those are already in the pot, so let me just show you what the other ingredients are. I've got a 7-ounce little package here of some fideo, the vermicelli pasta. I've got some cloves, some garlic cloves. I'm going to use about 2 of those. I'm going to use about 1/4 of this really big onion. I've got a can of diced tomatoes. This is a, what is this, 15 ounces or something, almost 14 ounces of diced petite tomatoes, and these happen to have garlic and olive oil flavor in there, and that's fine. You can use whichever ones you like or dice your own tomatoes. I've got some chicken bouillon here, and I'm going to use 1 of those. And then I've got this tomato one, which is a tomato bouillon. It's got chicken flavor in there. Okay, I also have some chicken thighs. I had a family pack, and I decided to boil it because I want chicken broth for my fideo. And since I don't have that, I'm boiling the chicken, so I decided to put all of it in this pot here. There's about 8 cups of water in there. I don't know, there's about 10 or so pieces of thigh, and then I just add a little bit of salt in there, and this is on high, and I'm just started cooking it, so it's just barely getting warm. You can see some of that fat kind of coming up to the top. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be skimming. See that right there, that little foamy bits? I'm going to be skimming this as I go along and taking some of that off. Now it's going to take me a little while because my chicken was still a little bit frozen, and I really only wanted just a few pieces for my fideo. But like I said, I need that broth, so I went ahead and boiled it. But usually I just take the chicken and I sear it in a pan with some oil, and then I add a little bit of chicken broth and let that cook, and then add the fideo. Once the chicken broth is kind of gone down, I add fideo, and I get that little toasty also with a little bit of oil, and then I add more chicken broth to it and let that cook down with all the rest of the ingredients. And sometimes I like it a little bit soupy, so I add extra chicken broth. Sometimes I like it all just to kind of evaporate and just leave chicken and the pasta, the fideo pasta with the tomato and such in it. So those are the ways that I'm going to prepare it. So boiling it, and then I'll just take out the pieces that I want for our fideo. The rest of them I'm going to let them cool off, refrigerate them, and then at a later date I can shred them up and make a chicken salad with that. Okay, so I just want to show you real quick how I skim it. I just get my spoon in there and lift that up just like that. Bring it into a little bowl, drop it in, and then I just keep doing that till I've removed most of it. Now more of it will be forming as it's cooking, so I'll have to be doing this a little bit more. But this is leaves the broth nice and clear, and it looks really pretty. And then of course you can use it for a soup and you can drink it. It's just fantastic without that little bit of scum, chicken scum. Okay, so that's it. Alright, it's been about 20 minutes and my chicken has cooked. I have tried to remove as much of the little floating scum at the top, and there's still a little bit of fat in there, but that's okay. It'll give a nice flavor. I did add a little bit of pepper in there to flavor up the broth, so that what I have left over I can put it in the fridge and use it for something else. So I'm going to take the chicken out of this pan so then I can let everything cool off, because for my fideo I'm actually going to remove the skin and the bone from the chicken thigh. Now normally I would just cook it all in a pan, sear it, cook it all so that you get all those flavors, but because now I've got all the flavors in this chicken broth, I don't need them when I'm cooking them in the oil. So let me go ahead and do that and I shall be back. Okay, so I've removed the chicken from the bone. I got the skin and the bone off the chicken actually. So I've got 5 thighs here that I've done that, and I've actually got 5 left over, and then I've got my broth here. So I've now prepared a pan with some oil, so I'm going to drop my chicken in there, get it nice and kind of fried a little bit of a crisp to it. Not too much of course, but just a little bit. And then I'm going to add the fideo and let that get toasted in the oil. So I'll be back when I'm adding the fideo. So I'm going to add the chicken in there first. Alright, so I've actually dropped the chopped garlic in there because I did chop it up, and then I chopped up some onion, and I did about 1/4 of that huge onion you saw, and I think I did 3 big cloves of garlic. I like a lot of garlic, so that just depends on your your taste, so season it and add herbs and onions to your taste. And just I'm gonna let this get a little fried as well in here with the onions, and I'm probably gonna add a little bit more oil before I add the fideo. All right, so while I'm waiting for the onions to just get a little bit translucent, I have got here almost 2 cups of the broth that I made, and to that I'm gonna add the chicken bouillon, and I cut it up into little pieces. I'm gonna pour it in there. I think that's it. And then here I've got the tomato bouillon, and that's already in a powder, so that's really nice. And then I've got a little bit of black pepper there because I had already added some to the broth, so that's just a little bit. And then I've got about a teaspoon of cumin, and I think I have about 2 teaspoons of that tomato flavored bouillon, the chicken flavored tomato bouillon. Okay, so that I will stir in the water, and I'm going to try to break up a little bit of the chicken bouillon. It'll break up some more once I get it into the pan and it gets hot again. It'll break up this little chicken, the bouillon. Okay, so we got this prepared and we got it ready. We're going to add this once our fideo has toasted a little bit, but we're also going to add a little bit more of that same chicken broth over here. Okay, so my onions have become a little bit translucent, and I don't know if you can tell some of my little chicken bits in there have a little bit of a crispiness to them, a little bit of a fry. So that's what I want. You don't have to do that. That's up to you. But when you're searing them at first, when you're starting with the chicken in the pan instead of boiling it, you're going to want to do that to it. Okay? Okay, but this chicken is already cooked, so we don't have to cook it any longer. I'm going to add some additional oil to this. And you make a little well in there, like that. And then to that I'm going to add the fideo. And what I want is I want to toast it up a little bit in that oil. So I want to make sure. Now these were whole pieces of chicken. I would be lifting them up and putting them on top of the fideo. But as you know, I made this a little shredded, and this is actually a little more kid friendly. So if you got kids that don't like, you know, sometimes the chicken legs and chicken thighs, you know, they got the little veins in there and the kids don't want to deal with that. So if you shred it up for them and remove all of that, this will be nice for them to have. Also, if you want to use some chicken breast, you can go ahead and use chicken breast in there instead. But it really doesn't have the same flavor as you do like when you have with dark meat. So that's up to you, but if you want to eat it, have maybe a little bit healthier, get the bone and the skin off and just cook some chicken breast in there and then add the fideo. It'll work just fine. Okay, so when you put the fideo in there, you gotta stay on top of it. Don't walk away. This is gonna take just a couple of minutes to get toasty. There's some bits in there that are already getting toasted. You can see that, little brown bits here and there. So that's what we want, but we don't need for all of it to be like that, but we do want a lot of it to be like that because that brings out a lot of the flavor in that pasta. That's what gives it that yummy fideo taste. But you can see there that I've got some, oops, sorry. You can see there that I've already got some little toasty bits, and that's what we want. So this is just gonna take a couple of minutes. So I walked away for a minute while I was stirring it, turned this off. Okay. Okay, we're almost here into another 2 minutes. I think I've got enough of that fideo toasted in there. So I'm going to go ahead and add this liquid that I've got going here with all these yummy seasonings. Just slowly pour that in. Okay, so now you want to move that around because we want that chicken bouillon that was in there to break up. Get those little bits off the edge there. Every little bit. Okay. Let's move this back again. I'm getting lots of steam on my camera. Look at that. That looks delicious. Okay, so now we're going to add some more of this broth. And we just want to add enough to basically kind of cover the fideo, okay? And fideo doesn't take very long. So give it about 5-7 minutes maybe, and this fideo should be soft. It's a very, very fine pasta, so it doesn't take long to cook, especially after we have toasted it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and leave it like that, and I'm just gonna be checking it. Now, if you want it very soupy, add all that chicken broth, add all of that. And I started off with 8 cups, if you'll remember. So you can add that in there, just make sure it doesn't overflow in your pan. And then you'll have a nice soupy fideo. Or just add a little bit and let it evaporate, and a little bit, and by that time your fideo should be cooked. Oh, and don't forget to add your diced tomato in there, guys. I should have added that when I was toasting the fideo. I completely forgot. But there we go. I've added it in, and it's going to add lots of flavor. That's optional, by the way. All right, everyone, our fideo is cooked. So here we go. That is what it is looking like. We're going to go ahead and serve ourselves some. I want to get some of this broth. Now, I didn't use all the chicken broth in there, but I'm going to get what I have in my pan. There we go. Look how yummy that looks. We're going to go ahead and give this a taste. I got to turn this off. All right, everyone, this has been my recipe for a fideo. Look at that broth. That is full of flavor. Oops, let's try that out. I got a little bit of chicken in there as well with my fideo. It is delicious. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up. I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up. Leave a nice comment down below. Let me know if you're going to try this dish. It's super, super easy. It takes a little while because, you know, I did boil the chicken first, and, you know, the cooking time for that. But it's a very rewarding meal. It's kind of one of those meals that you want to have. It's kind of comfort food is what I meant to say. Kind of like a beef stew, but, you know, Tex-Mex style. This is my style. All right, everyone, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that notification bell to let you know when I put up videos, which is every Tuesday and every Friday. And once in a while, I have a weekend vlog. Make sure you share your social medias. And as always, enjoy.